Hey y'all, this is Gwen here. Also Sansa's Gallifrey for those of you that know me as the Boudica Keep. But I have been kind of feeling the need to sort of bring back some Learn with Gwen. I can't seem to find all of the videos and content that I'd made before, so I'm just going to go ahead and maybe start recreating some new content again for you all. I've had questions, especially I know Bernie has specifically asked for some questions around the Autoclicker and some tools around that and some tips. So today I just wanted to introduce the Autoclicker, and I'll do some more videos that really allow us to kind of, you know, tap into even more of the features of what the Autoclicker can do, some creative ways that we can use it. But I've used it for a number of various different things that I will sort of at least introduce the basics of how to utilize it and how to program it for yourselves to get started with today. So first thing is getting BlueStacks. So I use BlueStacks because it just makes my life easier. It is um, a mobile Android an Android emulator essentially for your PC that allows you to play those mobile games on your computer. So when you open it or when you download it and open up an instance, and as you can see, I've got multiple instances that I've managed to create, and this is fantastic for those of you that have multiple keeps that you're trying to manage. And depending upon how good your computer is, you can run multiples at the same time, and it just really takes your game to the next level. But anyways, I'm going to take this back to my home screen here, and I've got a couple of apps, and as you can see, it looks kind of like a cell phone screen, right? So you would have your apps there, and on this particular instance, I have, of course, the Play Store, and then I have my GOTC Conquest, and I also have my Auto Clicker. So I'm going to first just start by opening up my auto clicker, and right now I have it enabled, but I'll go ahead and disable it for now. And I have two options. I've got a single target mode, which is great for spot sniping. I'll talk about that a little bit more in another video, but essentially spot sniping is what we do generally at the opening of a kingdom when you're trying to get those premium spots around a SOP so that you can race for them. If you have like a spot that you're really trying to hold, you put your alt in it, and then when you want to get into it, in order to avoid somebody else taking that spot before you can get into it, then the spot sniping helps. Now, granted, at this level in the game, everybody's probably using the auto clickers to do this, and it really comes down to whose computer is going to be the fastest and happen to click it right at that exact right moment to be able to win the spot. So it's not guaranteed, but it can kind of take some of the human error element out of it. The other is the multi-targets mode. So I like this one really to set up a lot of stuff. And as you can see, I have some saved configurations that I've set up for creature rallies, keep clearing, maybe auto joining of rallies, auto collecting of those rewards. This is fantastic for the wall event. If you have that seat and you want to step away, it's like, so as you're holding that seat, you could just be automatically collecting those rewards, to be able to get the points so that you can win for the team. So this is great, especially for those that are going to be holding the seats at the wall. Rally sets, be able to set those rallies automatically. Auto attacks. I've got a number of things that I've kind of set up and figured. And then I can also do a new configuration. Now a new configuration is going to open up this menu to the left, and really this is going to lay over top of the entire screen. So it is literally taking over essentially your device, which is again why I do this on BlueStacks and not on my phone. Although if I am doing a spot snipe, I might do it on my phone for that single target mode because I'm already coordinating with somebody in VC that's going to be giving up the spot, or I've already got it configured or something on my BlueStacks and I'm doing it myself on my phone in some way. So I might do it on my phone for that because it's not like it's just going to be left indefinitely. Unless, of course, I'm trying to snipe somebody else's spot with a farm, at which point I can run it 24/7 with a single target, just automatically clicking on the off chance that they happen to move that keep. And I have stolen many spots with that before in my time. But let's go ahead and talk about the multi-target. And as you can see with this, we've got first the play mode, which is not active because I don't have any clicks programmed. But I can click on the plus, which allows me to start adding clicks. And I can start moving those clicks around and I can line it up wherever I want it to be. And once I have it where I want to be, that's when I can click the play button. And it's essentially just constantly clicking right here in this same spot. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and now open up my game where I wanted that to be. So first off, just kind of like some basic farming, and I usually use a bot when it comes to farming. I don't do this because it gets complex and everything, but you could do this. If I'm going to farm, I'm just paying for green stars or paying for sky. Uh, I can't even remember. Skynet, I think, is the name. They named theirs after you get it, the Terminator thing. But yeah, they have the Skynet or the Green Stars, and there's probably some others out there that I'm not as familiar with. But still, if you're gonna farm, I highly recommend going ahead and just getting the bot and forgetting this whole autoclick. But if you're looking at saving money or something like that, this is at least a really effective enough free option. But there are some nuanced things that kind of, can get in the way. Auto clickers are not perfect, and things can always mess up in that case. So just kind of some basics. First off, we know that I can start just clicking or placing my first click to wherever I want that to be. So for example, maybe I want to auto click those rewards. Well, I can go ahead and place my click um, somewhere over here to where it'll open up this menu, probably on this little timer thingy. Oops, let me move that over just a little bit so I can open it up. Once I have it opened, so I've done my first click so I can open. And the way I do this, my mentality is literally doing the clicks and going through the process as I then program each thing. So that first click opens up this menu. So then I want another click so that it can go ahead and collect this reward. And if you know anything about how these rewards work, usually they just always will populate. The whatever's ready to collect is going to always be up at the top. So by having these two clicks, if this screen seems to close for any reason, it's going to automatically open it back up again. And then I can just hit that play button. And as you can see, it's just going to be constantly clicking 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 indefinitely. If there is no reward there to click, there's nothing in the way that it's getting into, so it's fine. The one, it's just clicking there, and again, nothing in the way. But as soon as a reward becomes active, then that 2 is going to land on it and going to go ahead and collect that reward, which is really cool. Now, I know Bernie had asked about, well, how can we, not just assign our clicks, but can we, have that 5-minute delay so that we can have our pattern of clicks and then we can set it for 5 minutes to restart the entire cycle again? Absolutely, you can. So for something like that, what I would do is I would program my clicks for whatever the cycle and probably repeat the same program 4 times. And then you can, on the very last click, you would be able to program that then to do the next click in 5 minutes. So if you click on one of these items, so if I open up number 1, it's the settings for it, and you can see the default is generally 300 milliseconds. But I can change that to seconds or minutes. So I could say I want it to click every 1 second in this case. Or it will go to the next click. So what I just said here is I'm going to delay the time before the next action 1 second. So it's going to click 1, and then it'll wait 1 second to click number 2. And then after number 2, it's going to wait 300 milliseconds. Or I can say, let's wait 1 second for that one. And now, when it does my 1, 2, 1, 2, it's going to do the 1 second delay for each click. Okay, so that's just a little note on timing and how we can program things. Another interesting tool that I like is this swipe. So this comes handy when you have to kind of swipe through different screens, especially when you're trying to configure your elk rallies. So we know that those elk rallies can get long. And so as we are going through and trying to navigate those in the rally screen, one, always click the box that hides all of the filled rallies. That at least will shorten the list, makes things a whole lot easier. And then you're not trying to click on things that you can't join anyways because they're full, and you're not scrolling through an endless list. But for all of the ones that are not filled, you can have it at least try to scroll, and then you're going to line up your clicks. Now, one thing that I always kind of point out is pay attention to other things on the screen that it might also accidentally click on if it happens to just miss. So, for example, sometimes you might accidentally click on the chords, which is going to completely take you out of that rally screen. And then you're going to find yourself clicking all over the map and maybe getting into your inventory, and it gets complicated, and you're doing a whole lot of other things that you're not intending to do because these clicks don't really know what they're clicking other than to continue to click in that same spot. It's not looking for an image or anything else. So if something changes on that screen than what you were expecting to be happening at each step of the cycle of the phase, it's going to mess up your entire cycle. So you do want to kind of be aware of that as far as where it might accidentally click sometimes. So as far as a quick little farming tip here, use the compass. So if you wanted to utilize this, for example, farming, I can start with a click right here on this compass. And I'm going to move to the side just a little bit so I can actually manually click on that compass, and then move my one back. And it brings up this screen. And then let's say I want to look for tournament of the grounds. This is what I'm looking for. So first off, I'm going to make sure I click on events because this may not be open. It might be on the general. And so if I'm on the general tab, I want to make sure that I click to the events tab. So I'm going to have that second click right there. Then I'm going to go ahead and use my tournament grounds right here so that I can go ahead and click on this one. So I'll go ahead and select that. And then I'm going to choose and set already my level range. Now, I don't need to program the clicks to set my level range because once you have it set, it's going to stay there. And I can either choose the all, unoccupied, or occupied, or whatever. I'm also going to check this box that says continue searching so that my compass will remain active as I'm looking for these things. I don't need to program that click there. I'm just going to keep it activated so that way it's set when I get to my next ones. But what I will program is this fourth click, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and set this fourth click right on the search button, and then you'll see it's searching for those. Now, it is helpful if you're already in an area where some of these are at, so I might need to get myself moved a little bit. Okay, so now I've kind of gotten myself to an area where those are. Again, this could be difficult when you're trying to farm, and that's why, I say usually I use the bot, because if you run out of targets within the area and the range in which you're kind of parked, it's just not gonna find anything. It's gonna keep telling you to, find something else, and then next thing you know, you're clicking a bunch of other things on the map that you're not intending to click. Okay, but then I can program this next click right here to say go to. Okay, I'll move it over here so that I can at least click on that go to, and then it's going to center me on the screen. So I could click this little tent right there, which is going to actually then open up and open up the item, and then I'm going to go ahead and oops, and I'm already starting to click, and I forgot to program the rest of those. But there you can see, here I am on my trial of the 7 because it found something else altogether. Now, while I was looking for this, I did find myself a keep that I'm going to come back here because I want to show you all kind of another neat little trick that I've come up with. And that is the rally sets or the keep clearing. And these are especially helpful when it comes to the weekend battle stuff. So if you wanted to set rallies constantly on a keep, you can do that. So here I have found myself a keep. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of get it centered up to where I want it to be. There we go. That's where I want it. So my screen is going to stay right here. Now I'm going to program my first click to click on the keep right there. Okay? And then once I've clicked on that keep, this is then what comes up. So I'm ready to go ahead and click on maybe the rally. So I'm going to go ahead and click on rally right here. All right. And then, we have the 5, 10, 30-minute, 1 hour options. I'm going to go ahead and select that 5-minute option. And then I'll go ahead and click number 3 to be on the begin rally. Now, if you want to ensure that you're always making sure that you select that 5-minute option as well, you can do that because it doesn't hurt to hit that 5-minute again. So I'll go ahead and do that and then maybe program a 4th click. Just keep in mind the more clicks that you're putting in here, because I'm trying to do my 4 rallies, that just means that I'm going to have to also repeat all of these clicks and program any timing related to them 4 times. And I'm going to have to overlap all of these buttons. So it does get a little bit complex, which is why you want to save them once you do. But I then can go ahead and click on Begin Rally. Now here, I want to make sure that I have the right march selected. So I'll go ahead and make sure I have my attack march selected. And I always like to make sure that I've selected the percentage. Again, if you want to save yourself clicks, you can make sure that you have these already selected so that it's going to have them already programmed. But again, you can have that just for the safety measure of in case something got, messed up. But then I'm going to go ahead and do number 7 over here so I can go ahead and create that rally. And now it's created. So in order to do my next one, well, number 8, I'm going to go ahead and have it overlap right here, just like on number 1. And then, so then number 2, you can see it's already kind of lined up there. So this brings me number 9. And then once I've clicked on that, it gets a little trickier as I start to overlap my stuff. But there's 9, and then after that, that was 2. So I could maybe put another one, which I know would be for number 3. And then number 4. And then I had number 5. Then I had number, 6. So this is where things start to get tricky here, right? So I had 5. I need to make sure that number 6 comes over here. So it's now number 13, right? And then after 13, then I'm coming down here to click this. And I'm back to then the keep. So then I need another one on the keep so I can hit that one, right? And then the rally button. So this is my 3rd cycle that I'm creating, right? And then maybe my 5-minute one again, maybe my 8, and then my 18 becomes my begin rally. I'm making sure I select the right march, making sure that I have my 100%, making sure that I select my begin rally right here. And then for my 4th cycle, I'll go ahead and put it right here again. And then for my rally, right here. And as you can see, as I'm starting to overlap things, it's getting complicated, right? But there we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and make sure I select my 5-minute, make sure I select my begin rally. As you can see, now I'm on page 3 because of so many clicks. And then I'm going to go ahead and make sure I select the right march, make sure I select the right percentage, make sure I select the right create rally. And there we go. Now, My next click would essentially begin the first cycle again because I've now got all of my rallies set, all 4 marches as I've done the 4 sets. So what I'm going to do is on this one, I'm going to set this one to say, oops, 5 minutes until it goes. All right. Now, meanwhile, check this out. You can see my rallies are all set. So watch what happens here is I'm going to go ahead and cancel all of these rallies for now. And then this is what I was talking about, the hide filled rallies, if you're trying to do the option to just join rallies. So when you do